Hey, I'm Terry with Shepherd Street Yoga, and we're here in the studio today just to lead you through some different yoga poses. And the one I'm going to focus on today is a hip opening sequence. So sometimes when you feel like your lower body is really stiff, hopefully these hip opening poses will help you in your practice. So we're going to start just with a little warm up. I think it's always important, instead of just jumping right into yoga poses, to start with some gentle stretches and some gentle, basically warming up. So let's go ahead and just come to that upright Sukhasana, easy seated pose. And I always like to think about lengthening your spine. Imagine that there's a string on top of your head just pulling you up. So you want to sit up nice and tall, take your shoulders down away from your ears, and then just think about your elbows being right underneath your shoulders. Hands can be down, hands can be up. You can even do the mudra. You can relax your palms in your lap, just whatever feels comfortable to you. You can always sit with your legs out in front. So let's go ahead and just always start with our breath. So let's just tune in, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And just kind of focusing on relaxing for a few moments. Yes, we're in the present moment, even though the present moment may not be where we want to be right now, but just trying to kind of settle in. And you can close your eyes if that feels okay. Just kind of noticing your breath, observing your breath, finding those deep, full inhales and deep, full exhales. So just staying here for just a couple of breaths as we just kind of center, get grounded, trying to give our thinking mind a break. And then as you're continuing with your breath, you can always pause this video and continue with your meditation a little longer. So let's go ahead and just inhale, and as you exhale, turn and look to your left, just stretching out your neck, and then inhaling back to center. Exhale, look to your right, just finding that stretch in your neck, and then inhale back to center. And as you exhale, look up, find that stretch in your throat area. And then bringing your head back to center. Inhale. And as you exhale, bring your chin to your chest, looking down. Finding that stretch in the back of your neck. And then just bringing your head back to center. So we're going to bring our arms out to our side and just do a few little arm stretches as we inhale, bringing your arms up to the sky, maybe wiggling your fingers. Exhale, release. We'll do that one more time. So big inhale, stretch your arms up. This time, bring your right hand to the front, your left hand to the back as you come into a gentle twist. So just waking up that spine a little bit. Breathing deeply, and then bringing your hands back up to the sky. Exhale, go the opposite direction, just bringing your fingertips down, twisting, finding a little opening and awakening in your spine. And then bringing your hands up one more time, big stretch. Clasp your hands as you push your palms away from you. And if you want, you can turn your head from side to side, just waking up that upper body a little bit. And then just release your hands down to your side. So we're going to do a couple of hip circles, just warming up our hips before we get moving. So you can have little bitty circles, you can have big circles, whatever your back and hips feel like doing. So just waking up those hips. And then reverse that circle. Maybe even gently starting to engage your core. Always being mindful of that. And then coming back to center, we're going to stretch out in cradle pose. So find your outer leg, prop it up. You can keep it low to the ground, flex your foot to protect your knee, and then you can just rock back and forth. You can actually grab it and hold your leg like a baby, flex your foot, and you can start to feel that awakening, opening in that sciatic nerve area and that hip, just kind of waking that up. Nice big breaths. And then release your foot, find the other leg. Same thing, you can keep it low to the ground, flex your foot, rock it this right here if this is comfortable, or if you want to bring it closer to your chest, you can bring it in, rocking that, bringing that awareness to your hip, and then release that foot. So we're going to move into butterfly or cobbler pose, Baddha Konasana, sometimes called bound angle. So bringing the soles of your feet to touch together, and then if possible, maybe start to bring your feet in a little bit closer. You can even take your hands behind you and scoot your hips closer. So once again, we're thinking about a long spine. So take your shoulders up, back, and down. Always working on improving our posture. Engage your core. And then what we're doing now is we're really getting a nice hip opening. We're getting a great groin stretch, outer thigh, inner thigh. So think about maybe taking those knees down towards the ground as you sit up nice and tall. And then a lot of people even like to hold onto their feet and open up like a book. If you open your feet up like a book, you can notice how it maybe opens up your hips a little more. So breathing into this stretch. And if your knees are up here, perfectly fine. Sometimes it just takes a while for those knees to release all of those muscles and ligaments. So just nice deep breaths, opening up through your chest. Think about lifting upward from your spine. So, you can stay here as long as you want. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next pose. So, taking your hands to your knees, bring your knees up, and then extend your legs out in front of you. Shake your legs down a few times, finding that kind of feeling your hamstrings turning on. And then we're going to move to all fours, table position. So, coming up to all fours. And you want your hands your wrists to be right underneath your shoulders. Really spread your fingers wide. And then just notice how your back naturally wants to sag. Pull your core tight, coming into that flat back. And then this next pose we're going to do is balance cat. So think about squeezing your abs with each exhale. So engage your core, extend your left leg out long and strong behind you, flex your foot, and then extend your right hand forward as if you're shaking someone's hand. So we're working on balancing here, working on focus, working on your core strength. So keep that tummy really tight as you're pulling your hand in one direction, pulling your foot in the other, and really keeping that core tight to support your back. And then release your hand, release your knee. We'll move to the other side. So extend your right leg out long and strong. Flex your foot. Left arm out long and strong. So it's almost a little tug of war. Someone's trying to pull your hand forward, trying to pull your foot back. Keeping your core engaged. And then dropping your hand, dropping your knee. And we're going to move into a lunge series now. So extend your right leg back again and bring your right foot up on the mat. And as you look down, see if your ankle is right underneath your knee. So taking your knee as close to your foot if you'd like. If you want a deeper stretch, more intense stretch, you can bring that knee back. Always, you can bring a blanket underneath your knee if you need support, if you have sensitive knees. So nice big breaths here. Think about dropping your hips, kind of shifting your hips forward as you lift your heart. Another option is you can use these blocks right here and bring your hands under the blocks. It's going to lift the earth up to you. So just breathing here in this low lunge. Nice full breaths. You can probably start to feel that stretch going on in your hips. So moving into reverse lunge now. So carefully walking your hands back. You can keep your toes down or bring your toes up, whatever feels best to you. Getting into a little hamstring stretch, keeping that knee bent as much as you need to. Find that stretch in the back of that right leg. And then walking your hands forward. Now we're going to move into high lunge. So tuck that back toe, lift your knee. So we're coming into this high lunge pose. So every time you lift your leg, it's going to be a little more intense. So you can stay here, or you can bring your hands up to your knee. So we're not only lengthening, we're working on strength here too. So hands can stay on your knee, or you can bring your hands up for hold the world. So if you'll notice, my back heel is lifted, and then when I look down, you should be able to see your big toe. Knee is still tracking over your ankle, and then relaxing your hands, clasp your hands behind you, and then push your hands down, opening up through your chest. And then release your hands, and then slide your back foot up. We're going to move into a warrior two. So I'm looking forward. My heel and my arch are lined up. I'm going to come back down and bend my knee, coming into that big stretch here. Knee tracking over your ankle, and then bringing my arms out for warrior two. So you can kind of self-check, head over heart, heart over hips. Your arms are extending in opposite directions. And then just windmill your hands back to your knee. Turn your back foot down as you bring your hands back to the mat. And then we're going to rest in child pose. So toes together, knees wide, rest in child pose. So your arms can be straight out in front of you. You can make pillows with your hands. Or you can even bring your hands back by your heels and let your shoulders relax. So child pose is an awesome restorative pose. Great for soothing anxiety if you have any. So nice deep breaths. Just releasing any tension in your back as we push back up to all fours. And we'll move to the other side. So extend your left leg out behind you, long and strong. Bend that left foot as you come into low lunge on this side. Once again, check in with that right knee. The further it goes back, the deeper the stretch. So your knee is tracking over your ankle. You're lifting your heart, pushing those hips forward in low lunge. Nice big breaths. Feel that stretch in your hips. And then walking your hands back for that reverse lunge. So just coming slowly. You don't want to make any jerky moves. You can leave your foot down, bring your foot up as you stretch your hamstring on the back of that left leg. And then walking your hands forward. Tuck that back toe as you lift your knee, coming into a high lunge. Once again, if you have blocks and you want to use those blocks, perfectly fine to do that. So you can stay here, or you can bring your hands up to your knee, coming into high lunge. And then bringing your hands up if you'd like. It is a balance. So if you feel more comfortable leaving your hands here, you can leave them here, or you can bring your hands up for hold the world. And then release your hands behind you as you clasp your hands, and then pull your hands down as you open up through your chest, open up through your shoulders. And then transitioning to Warrior Two, release your hands, and then you just kind of hop that back foot more towards the side so your front heel and your arch of your foot are lined up. And then coming into that squat, so knee is tracking over ankle, look down to see that you see your big toe, and then inhale, bring your arms out. So moving in Warrior Two, very strong pose. We're strengthening here, working on our endurance. And then straighten that leg up as we come up to the front of the mat. Release your hands. And then I'll turn this way. We're going to practice the balance pose. And then inhale as you bring your hands up for upward salute. And then exhale, release your hands, coming into mountain pose. Mountain is the pinnacle pose of all standing poses. So I thought we'd do a balance pose to help us with our opening up our hips. So shift your weight to your right foot, lifting your left knee. So we're just balancing here first. And anytime you do balance, find a place to stare 5 or 10 feet in front of you that's not moving. And then we're going to cross our ankle over our knee, coming into flying pigeon. And you'll notice my hands are waving perfectly fine because that's what they do when you're in trying to balance. So you can stay upright, or if you'd like to fold forward, you can fold forward in flying pigeon. So nice deep breaths. Trying to find that place of focus. It's called your drishti. And then release your foot, coming back to mountain pose. And it's very much okay to fall out of the pose, just get right back in. And then shifting your weight to your left foot, taking your right knee up, starting a little balance here. And then you can stay here, or if you'd like to try this pose, bringing your knee over your ankle over your knee, opening up through your hip. You can stay upright, or if you'd like to fold into flying pigeon, just lean forward, really taking those abs in tight, coming into your flying pigeon. Don't forget to breathe. And then coming back up, release your foot, and then just shake it all out. Okay, so we're going to come back to the floor, and coming back to Sukhasana, bringing both feet in front to start with. And we're going to do a couple of windshield wipers. So just taking your knees one direction, then the other. This just keeps those hips loose, keeps that tension out of those hips and low back. And then bringing your feet back up. So thinking about that pose that we just did, take your right ankle over your left knee, flex that foot. So this is just another extension of that particular pose. So you can stay just like this, or you can move your foot closer or move your hips closer, and you'll see, and hopefully you can feel that stretch. So holding here for a few breaths. And then release that foot, taking your other foot over, ankle over your knee, flex your foot, and then the same thing, you can keep your foot apart, or you can bring your hips a little closer in. Nice big breaths. And then release that hold, extend your legs out, just shake them all out. And moving into fire logs, and this is really an intense hip opener. So bend your left knee, bringing your shin parallel to the mat, and then step your right foot over as you drag this calf back. So you're trying to stack your shins just like fire logs would be stacked. Flex your feet, and then just feel this intense stretch in your hips. So hands can be on either side of your legs. If you feel like this is not getting into where you need, if you need a little bit deeper stretch, you can bring your hands in front. And then as you inhale, lengthen your spine, and as you exhale, maybe walk your hands just a little bit. And you should be able to feel a nice stretch in that hip. You never want to feel pain, you just want to feel some tension. Yoga is a little bit about effort and a little bit about ease. So try to find that place that's just right for you. It's called your edge. And then walking your hands back up, carefully unwind, shake your legs down again, and go into the other side to get that hip stretch. So right shin parallel to the mat, step your left leg over, drag your foot back as you stack your calves, and then think about your ankle being over your knee and this knee being over your ankle. Flex your feet, and then you can stay upright. And if your knee is up here, perfectly fine. You can put a block under it. You can even pull your foot down and get the stretch just like this. So we're in fire logs pose. Sitting up nice and tall. Think about lengthening your spine. Breathing some space into your neck. And then if you want a little more stretch, you can bring your hands in front or walk them down a little bit. Just breathing into those hips. And then walking your hands back in, unwind, shake your legs out. How are we doing on time? Not really sure. All right, so let's go ahead and come back to all fours. And we're gonna set up for a down dog before we start finishing up. So with a down dog, you wanna think about your hands being a little bit in front of your shoulders, spreading your fingers wide and really plugging in each finger and thumb. So really grounding down through your knuckles. So soften your heart and then puff your back up. Think about coming to a flat back, tuck your toes, and then we're gonna keep our knees bent on this first one. So lifting your hips, pushing through your knees, coming up into your down dog. So knees can stay bent as much as you need them to be. And then let's just walk the dog. So pedaling your feet, heels coming up and down, sending your chest towards your thighs. And then if you want a little simpler version, take your feet as wide as the mat. So think about lifting up your hips, coming into that upside down V, relaxing your head, relaxing your neck. You don't want to feel any stress or strain. And then when you're ready, you can come up on your heels and then try to maybe send your heels down towards the mat. They may reach, they may not. So this is an all-over body strengthener. A great stretch for your whole body, especially for your brain. And then dropping your knees. And this time we're going to come into something similar to child pose, but it's called hare pose or rabbit pose. So clasp your hands. Your elbows are spread a little apart from each other, keeping your hips lifted so your hips are over your knees. And then bring your forehead down to the mat. If it doesn't get there, just use a block. And then you can roll up on top, the top part of your hip. So coming into rabbit pose. This is awesome for headaches because you can see how it sends the blood circulation to your brain. So nice full breaths here. We won't stay here long. If this is not comfortable, just bring your forehead back to the mat. And then coming back to child pose one more time. So toes together, knees wide, stretch out through your child pose. Just resting your forehead. You can even roll your forehead side to side if that would feel good. And then we're going to go ahead and come up, make your way onto your back. And as you do so, keep your knees bent. And we're going to relax in a cobbler pose, except it's called a supine cobbler. So letting both feet, your soles of your feet come together to touch, and just let your knees come away from each other. So we're still getting this awesome hip stretch as we start to unwind and cool down a little bit. So if you'd like, you can clasp your hands behind your head. And this is just mirroring your legs, if that feels good. So just hanging out here for a few breaths. Feeling that stretch in your hips, feeling that opening through your chest. If you want a little more stretch, you can even bring your hands to cactus position or goalpost arms. And if that's too much, you can just clasp your hands and bring them on your belly. And just notice as you breathe in how your belly rises. And as you exhale, how your belly falls. Just belly breathing. Really focusing on inhales and exhales. So nice deep full breaths. So you can stay here in this relaxed pose, or if you'd like to move into your Shavasana, maybe set your own timer, you can just help your knees up. Keep your knees bent, or you can stretch your legs out, coming into your full relaxation pose.